Good evening and welcome to Annenberg Radio's special Super Tuesday election coverage from Where We Vote. I'm Jack Waterman, coming to you live from Studio B in USC's Annenberg Media Center.
And I'm Malcolm Caminero. It's March 5th, the Tuesday of all Tuesdays that some would call it Super Tuesday. And we've got you covered, I promise. At the top of each hour, we'll bring you live updates from primary results from around the country, including California. And we'll hear from voters about the issues that are important to them and they look forward to tonight, meaning till the November election.
All right, let's first start with catching up on what has already happened today. As expected, President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump are dominating today's voting. They are both adding big numbers to their delegate counts as we head to what looks like another political rematch for Trump and Biden in November. Thus far, Republican candidate Donald Trump has taken 11 of the 16 states voting today with an overwhelming majority. While we wait for election results to come in from Arkansas, California, and Utah, we're keeping an eye on the Vermont results, where Trump and Nikki Haley, Trump's lone challenger, are roughly splitting the votes. We will keep you updated with this race throughout the night. Nikki Haley faces even longer odds in her bid to seize the nomination from Trump. As the delegate count currently stands, Trump has 297 delegates to Haley's 43. After tonight's results, many GOP members are stepping up their calls for Haley to drop out of the race. Any other candidate with delegates has already dropped out. On the other side of the ticket, we see a similar trend. President Joe Biden is facing virtually no competition and has already been announced the winner in 14 of the 16 states voting today, with California and Utah yet to be reported. Biden currently holds all of the Democratic delegates with 406. As the night progresses, we will look at what all of this means with November elections approaching.
Only 1 hour left until the polls close at 8 p.m. here in California. We have a team of journalists who are out at the polls getting the scoop. One happens to be close to campus at our very own USC Village, where Eric Trevino is joining us from Cowlings and Ilium Residential Hall. What's the scene like out there, Eric?
Hello, can you hear me, Malcolm?
Loud and clear. Go ahead, Eric.
All right, hi, Malcolm. Well, I'm here outside of Cowlings Residential College for the Village, and I'm outside the USC's polling station, and to be honest, it's kind of in the very far back. It's along a field where McClintock Avenue is, and if it wasn't for the American flag posted outside the office, I might not have been able to spot it. But yeah, I'm hearing that like the past couple of days, the foot traffic was pretty slow because of the rain, because of the weather, all the way up until yesterday, Monday. But today it's a completely different story. I've been told that they're busy all day long and seeing like maybe around 200 plus people. A lot of these people are students and first-time voters, so it'll be really interesting to see how these people impact California's decision. I'm here today with Kitty Feldy, who is a poll worker. She's been working the past couple of days. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Happy to be here tonight.
And Kitty, can you tell me a little bit about your experience the past couple of days working at the polls?
I love doing this, and particularly here because, as you mentioned, all of those brand new voters, they get emotional about it. It's the first time they're 18 or 19 years old that they can actually cast a ballot. And a lot of them are really nervous about it. A lot of them say, I just don't know enough. What if I make a mistake? And I said, well, no one's going to arrest you. We make mistakes all the time. So it's been really a good experience being here. I've done other poll working elsewhere, but being around new voters is exciting for everybody.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. And, you know, there's still some time left before the polls close. So do you think there's anything that a lot of these people, like, they may not know about? Is there something that they should know about?
Yeah, you know, a lot of people didn't understand why we're having two elections. You know, what's a primary election and what's the general election. To me, that's bad. It means we haven't taught civics, you know. They should know this stuff when they're here. But what they should know is that if you are not a registered voter yet, California has same-day voting. You can show up with an ID, and you can vote tonight if you get down here before 8 o'clock. And just know that, you know, you want your voice heard. Don't just gripe about stuff changing. You have the power to help make it change. And you do that, first of all, with your vote. So come on down.
Yeah, it's definitely true. And is there something, like, is the voting process, is there anything that made it different this year compared to previous years?
Well, the big thing that's been very confusing to all of us has been people in this partisan age don't want to declare for a party. They often say they want to be nonpartisan. Well, that's great, except that in elections, in California, if you are registered as a nonpartisan voter, they don't let you vote for the president. So you can change once you get here. You can become a crossover voter for the Democrats and a couple of the independent parties. You can't do it. You have to completely change your party if you want to vote for the Republicans, because the Republican Party decided that they didn't want these quote-unquote crossover votes. They wanted pure Republican votes. So, you think you're doing a good thing when you're signing up for the first time as a voter saying, I don't want to be in the middle of all this partisan stuff. I'm going to be nonpartisan. Well, that's great, except for this technicality of you don't get to vote for president.
Yeah, it's important to keep in mind. But thank you so much for joining us today.
Happy to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you. And going back to you, Malcolm, just, we're still here. Polls close at 8, but we'll be catching you up at the top of the hour once it hits 8. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric. We appreciate it. So, Jack, I must say, on my part, I will be a first-time voter this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Congratulations.
Appreciate
Welcome
it.
to the club.
Thank you. I'm excited. I am a bit nervous, so I share the sentiment of students who are first-time voters. I actually sent my mail-in ballot back to the Bay Area where I'm from.
Very nice. Yeah, well, the good thing is that at least for these voters, talking about this polling location here in the USC Village, like many of those students live directly above those locations. Like I think the process of voting can sometimes seem a little intimidating, or like, how do I go through it? And all they have to do is just walk downstairs, like the polling worker said, show them their ID, and they can vote right then and there in just a few minutes.
I agree. Very convenient. And I know that there's also other polling locations around USC within a few walking distance, and it's very convenient for people who are first-time voters who might be confused about where and when to get to it. But I do know for a fact we have another journalist out in the field tonight. We're going to polls in the surrounding area where we're reeling in the last voters as the night comes to an end. Our very own Jude Ocañas is coming to us live from a local elementary school. Jude, we just got off the line with Eric, who's at the USC Village, and we know you're at Weems Elementary School in South LA. What's happening out there? Could you give us a bit of the scene?
Yeah, I'll tell you guys, happy Super Tuesday to you all. I'm outside Weems here, just west of USC, and the foot traffic when I arrived here about 6:30 was a little bit slow. There wasn't many people out. Probably, there was more members here than actual people voting. But we're here kind of the 7:30 hour, 30 minutes before the center closes, and the foot traffic has picked up. People are here now. There are a lot more people voting. There's at least 10 people, voting on the different machines, and we also have people dropping off their ballots. So definitely foot traffic picking up in the final count here.
Yeah, absolutely. And have you seen, in talking to people that, it seems like all of the traffic has already come through, which is why, many people aren't there anymore? Or do they expect maybe a large rush or some amount of people to come in these last 30 minutes here in California?
Yeah, I think they're going to expect a little bit of a rush here at the final 30 minutes. They've been open for the past 4 days. I was talking to people, and it's been pretty quiet here. They've said they've had a total of 10 people each day in the past 3 days. So they've definitely had some more steam here just in the last day that it's open. But yeah, no, they're going to expect the rush here in the final 30 minutes with, people coming in, and there's people walking in constantly now.
Good to know. And it'll get pretty active where you're at, Jude. So I think it'll be pretty exciting.
No, it sure will be exciting, and it's I just have to say the people here they're wonderful. Walked in, met a lead director here he's a fireman, and very welcoming people here, and it's been a great experience so far. So we'll see how the rest of the night goes, but it's been a great day.
Awesome, Jude. Well, thank you so much for all the work you're doing. We will catch up back with you later in the evening. Thanks so much.
Of course, thank you guys.
Absolutely. Well, every year, USC holds a panel during Super Tuesday with political experts hosted by Annenberg Media Center Director Christina Bellantoni. It is just getting underway right outside of our media center here, and our very own Natalie Lozano is live at the USC Annenberg Forum. Natalie, can you describe what the scene is like out there right now?
Absolutely. I'm standing live in the forum, and there's dozens of people coming in right now. The panel has started, and we have an awesome lineup, guys. People seem to be really excited. So let me just run through the awesome panel tonight. We have Annenberg Media Director Christina Bellantoni, who's our moderator tonight. Cami Acavan, the Executive Director for the Center for Political Future at USC. Luis Alvarado, Public Affairs Consultant. Danielle Zendejas, a partner at the Strategy Group. Jane Costin, an opinion writer at the New York Times. Caitlin Hernandez, a multimedia journalist for LAist. Tom Holohan, a professor of communication and political science at our very own USC. Eric Schmelzer, president of his independent public relations firm, Winning Progressive, and Jessica Yellen, a Peabody, Gracie, and Emmy Award-winning journalist and a senior fellow with the Annenberg Center for Communication Leadership Policy. People seem to be really excited, and we've been listening to them for about a couple of minutes now. And I'm here with Troy. Troy, can I get your year and major, please?
Yes, I'm a first year and I'm a political science major.
Awesome. And what brings you here tonight?
Yeah, well, I think this election season is very integral. I think it's one of the most important ones we've had in recent years. And, just having turned 19 and this being my first time voting, I really want to get more involved and just be a part of this election process, see what's going on around the country and how the primaries are going this year.
Yeah, and you mentioned it, and I see that you have your I voted sticker on today. Why do you think it's important to go to the polls?
I just think with so many things having happened in our country and just around the world the past couple of years with reproductive rights, gun control, just so many worldwide issues that are so integral, I think. Also with the presidential candidates that we have, a lot of people are kind of dissatisfied with the state of the country, and just personally I want to make sure that my voice is heard, and a lot of people here think the same way, and so I just want to again just be out here, see what's going on, what others are kind of thinking about this election season, and yeah.
Awesome, thank you so much. We also have another person here at the panel tonight. Her name is Kate. Kate, can I have your year and major, please?
Hi, I'm a freshman and I'm a psychology and public policy major.
Yeah, what brings you to the panel tonight?
So I represent Political Union here on campus, which is essentially an organization that brings together Democrats and Republicans to kind of bridge the gap on issues and have discussions that are non-judgmental and kind of a way for us to learn how to work together.
Awesome. Were you able to vote tonight?
I am a Texas voter, so I mailed my vote back to Texas.
Awesome. And then why do you think, you kind of mentioned it before with what you do for your work, but why do you think it's important for people to show up at the polls?
I think it's just important that everybody is able to share their opinions, share their voice. I think sometimes as someone from Texas, and as a liberal, it is a little bit difficult to feel as if your voice matters. But we also have to understand that things are always constantly changing, so it's still really important to assert yourself and kind of to create that.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Awesome talking to you, and we'll have another update coming in the next hour. I'm Natalie Lozano. Back to you, Malcolm and Jack.
Thank you, Natalie. That was Natalie Lozano live from the USC Annenberg Forum. We appreciate you for your time. Joining us back in the studio is Sarah Steinecker, president of the Trojan Dems, one of the biggest USC political organizations. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Happy Super Tuesday.
Happy Super Tuesday to you as well. Now, as the election results are pouring in, are they what you expected?
Well, what we've seen is very limited. I'm still waiting for the California polls to close, but from what I've seen, it's very typical, I think, from both the Democrat and Republican side. I am keeping an eye on Utah's Republican primary. I think that's going to be really interesting, probably one of the more contentious races tonight. But for me personally, I'm a California voter, so I'm going to be looking at the California Senate race as one of the more contentious issues that I'm going to be watching tonight. Yeah,
I know, Super Tuesday hasn't even finished yet, but let's look forward a little bit. What are these results, starting to set up for November?
I think, especially in California, it's starting to set up the top two runoffs that we have in the general election. In California, we don't have the party primaries that a lot of other states have. So looking past tonight, we're going to be looking at reevaluating endorsements for our club specifically. We're going to be looking at how we can support Democrats in contentious seats, and also looking at how we can connect with Democrats running to make sure that we're supporting the best Democrat possible if it's a top two Dem primary or general. And looking forward, we're just going to be looking at ways to support President Biden in his re-election campaign. Right now, obviously, in California, he's running uncontested, but he's not running uncontested in the general. So we are looking at ways to support him in his re-election campaign.
Now, like you mentioned, the polls in California have yet to close, but do you have any thoughts on the Senate race going on in California?
I think the Senate race is definitely one of the more interesting races on the ticket. For me personally, our club endorsed Congresswoman Barbara Lee, who is currently, as we are aware, fourth in the polls. And unfortunately, it doesn't look super great for her right now at the moment, but holding out hope that she's going to pull it out tonight. But I think the Senate race is really one to watch. Congressman Schiff has really put in a lot of money into the race and a lot of ad space. I personally get lots of ads for him on my computers and my TV. So I'm interested to see how it goes and to see if Steve Garvey will pull it out into the top two. I think that if he does, it's going to be a less exciting Senate race come November, given that California is a very blue state. But in the event that Congresswoman Porter or Congresswoman Lee make it to the top two, I think it's going to be a very contentious race. And I think it's going to be one of the more expensive races in the country, especially because the California Senate seat is incredibly powerful, and once you're in the seat, you're in it for a very long time. So it's an incredibly powerful seat.
Yeah, absolutely. And so when tonight's elections kind of come to a close, what are your thoughts on what President Biden's next moves will be, and what would you like to hear from him in his State of the Union address coming up?
There's a lot of things I'd like to hear from President Biden's State of the Union address, and luckily it's a very long speech, so hopefully he'll touch on a lot of it. But to talk about some of the things that our club cares about, a lot of our members care incredibly strongly. They care a lot about reproductive rights. It's one of the main issues that we see of people coming into the club. They're scared about their rights to have an abortion being taken away. We talk a lot about gun control with the wave of gun violence that we've seen recently, most recently also with that shooting at the Kansas City Chiefs rally. It's on the top of our mind. As young voters, we're also concerned about student loans, the environment. So I'd really like to see him address some of the issues that young voters care about, especially in an election year, because the Gen Z vote and the younger millennial vote is very crucial for the outcome of the election. We're a historically underrepresented group when it comes to voting because a lot of us don't really want to go out to the polls. But I think that if President Biden has State of the Union speech, I personally would like to see him appeal to young voters because I think that it's really important to tap into that voter demographic come November.
Thank you for joining us, Sarah. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Once again, that was Sarah Snydeker, president of the Trojan Democrats.
And we'll take a short break before we begin more Super Tuesday election results. We'll be back at 8:20. Be sure to go out and vote. California polls close in half an hour. Thank you for listening. We'll be back with more Super Tuesday election night coverage.
We'll bring you the latest results, including early returns in California, and if they are in, we will hear from some special guests, voters, and experts. I'm Jack Waterman.
And I'm Malcolm Caminero. See you in the next hour for
From Where We Vote.